guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my Panda palette, and I'm quite excited to share with you the progress that I made over the past month. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's just jump into the palette. So as you know, I am panning my Naked Basics palette. We are almost halfway through the year, not quite, but almost. So I do have pretty decent progress, and I'm going to insert a picture up here of where I was with this palette last month. And as you can see, I had, like I said, some pretty decent progress. I had pan on 4 out of the 6 shades, and yeah, overall the palette just started looking more used. But this right here is where I am with this palette today. So as you can see, there is hopefully some visible progress that you can see in the pictures, and I will obviously, as always, have the comparison pictures up on the side. But let's just go through each shade in order. So we have the first shade, which is Venus, and that is the highlighting shade in the palette, and it is the only shade also that isn't matte. So this is more of a kind of satiny shimmer shade, and this I mainly use as an inner corner highlight, and that's how I've been using it over the past month as well. So in the past month I have reached this 30 times, which is obviously most of the days, and overall I think I did pretty good progress on it. I haven't seen the pictures in like maybe 2 weeks now since my last update, but last time I checked I thought there was at least some sort of visible progress, so I hope you can see that in the pictures. And yeah, I'm really happy with the pan expanding as well. I said from the start this is not a shade that I'm worried about finishing. I did use this a tiny bit as a highlighter in winter, but I feel like now it doesn't really work because it looks too pale on me. Not that I've got much of a tan because I've been inside most of the time anyway, but I just use a bit more bronzer and things like that now in summer. Or like spring summer, so this one doesn't really work, like I said, as a highlighter, but I might go back to that in the winter time if this shadow is still around at that point. The next shade is Foxy, and I have reached for this shade 4 times over the past month, so that's not great. And I have said from the start this is not a shade I'm focusing on yet. I wanted to focus on Walk of Shame first because it is more of a kind of pinky tone shade, and I feel like that would be better for me in winter or when I'm at my palest. I am still using Walk of Shame, but I think maybe this month, like this upcoming month, will be the last month that I'm focusing on that shade, and then I think from then on I'm going to start focusing more on Foxy, because I will probably start getting a bit of a tan or perhaps even fake tanning a bit. So I think that will be the shade that I'm moving on to, so hopefully you will be able to see a little bit more progress on this in the next month, or at least the month after. So Walk of Shame is the shade that I have been focused on instead, and I think you can probably see some pretty good progress on this month. I think that I expanded the pan quite a bit, and I have used this 31 times over the past month, so again quite a lot, and I am really happy with where I am. I have been focusing on the top half of the pan right there, so I have been expanding it up. Now it's actually getting quite difficult to get the product in that corner because I use quite a big kind of wide brush, because how I use this shade is mainly like to blend out this area right here, or like up around my brow bone. When I do kind of bright looks similar to what I did today, I actually used that in that manner today, and it is getting difficult to kind of fit my brush in there now, so I might start working towards the bottom now in the next month, just to kind of continue expanding it down. And when I get to a similar point at the lower end of the pan, I think I will repress this one, but that will probably take a couple more months because, like I said, I am gonna start focusing on Foxy. Next up we have Naked 2, which is like the kind of light taupey shade in the palette, and this one I have reached for 25 times in the past month. I mainly use this as an eyebrow shade. I think that's what I've been using it for exclusively this past month. I don't think I've used it as an eyeshadow. I think this is a shade that would also work for me as a contour shade, but I don't really contour that often, and currently I have a different product that I use for contour when I do contour, so I haven't been using it that way. But I am getting a bit more pan expansion on here, and I have again been kind of focusing up in that kind of corner, and especially this corner, as you can probably see, and the product is getting quite thin in that corner as well, so I think I'm probably gonna be able to hit side pan soon if I want. But I'm not sure if I actually gonna try to do that, because I'm scared that if I hit side pan, this shadow will start crumbling. So I might kind of move on to the other side and even that out, and then move to the bottom half of the pan. But again, I don't use too much of this because I do use it in my eyebrows mainly, so that will also probably take quite a few more months. Another shade that I've been using surprisingly a lot this past month is the shade Faint, which is next to Naked 2. I have been using this again mainly in my brows. I have a combination of the two in my brows today, and what I do with this mainly is that I focus on putting faint first in the tail of my brow, and then kind of to fill out the shape, and then to actually fill out the whole brow and fade it into like the inner part of my brow, I use Naked 2. That's how I've been doing it recently. It does make my brows a little bit darker, but I haven't been minding that look. But if I do want like a lighter brow, then I just use Naked 2 in that manner. So that's how I've been using them. I think maybe I reached for faint maybe once or twice as an eyeshadow as well. And that's probably like one of the shades that I'm most worried about, together with Crave, which I will talk about in a second. So I'm not sure I'll be finishing these two shades this year, but I'm gonna try obviously. But I don't really like those really cool tone shades on my eyes as much, so they're not as easy for me to reach for as eyeshadows. But I also thought that maybe like if I do finish up Naked 2, I might take a little bit of faint and kind of repressing it with one of these two and frankening it to become a similar shade to Naked 2, and maybe using it a bit more that way. So we'll see. Again, that is months away, so I'm just kind of speculating what will happen when I use up more shades in this palette. Then the last shade that we have is Crave, and as you can see I have hit pan on this shade, which is really exciting. I used this 9 times over the past month, and I'm using this today. The shades that I'm using today, like I said, are these kind of 4 towards the end, plus actually I'm using all of the shades apart from Foxy today. Because this is my inner corner, this is my blending out shade, these two are in my eyebrows, and this one I'm just using to kind of cover up the lash band a little bit, so I didn't use very much of this today. And how I've been using this shade, Crave, mostly is as like an eyeliner. So what I do is I take a little bit out of this shade on like a mixing plate, and then I put a little bit of Duraline in it and create like a liquid liner with it, and I really like using it that way. It's probably like how I'm getting most use out of this shade. But I think that I need to start using it more as like a deepening up shade and things like that. One thing that I also did with this is I actually created a look with this all over the eye, and then I topped it with one of my iridescent shades from Cleona, and I loved how that turned out. If you've seen like one of my videos, I used it I think in 2 videos. It might have been my Deco Panning and my whole collection Project Pan videos. If you saw that like really bright like smoky blue look, that was it. So I used, like I said, Crave all over the eye, and I topped it with an iridescent shade. So I might do that a bit more because I just really want to get some more use out of that one. But honestly, I'm not sure I will finish Crave this year, and I'm not too upset about that because honestly it's one of the most pigmented blacks that I have in my collection. So if I don't finish it this year, I might just take it out of this palette and repress it into like a magnetic palette and put it in my singles collection, because I wouldn't mind having it in my collection still after finishing this palette at the end of the year. So I didn't actually go for my goals when I talked about each shade. So I think my goals, my first goal was obviously to hit pan on Crave, which I did, and then I can't really remember what else my goals were. I think I just wanted to double the size of, was it Walk of Shame possibly, the pan, like the pan size, and I think I might have done that. I also wanted to use, I think, one of these two like 15 times, and I used them. Honestly, I should have just watched my video back, but I can't remember honestly what my goals were because they were a bit more vague. But I know for sure that I wanted to pan on Crave, and even with other goals I definitely think I surpassed them because I have been getting more use out of this palette in the past month than I thought I would. So speaking of goals, I think I've come to a place with this palette now where I don't want to put specific goals, because since I have pan on most of the shades apart from Foxy, which I won't like hit pan on probably in another like 2-3 months, I just feel like it will be a bit vague to put goals in, and it will mainly be just like a YouTube goal or like a pan expansion goal, which are all like not as exciting. So I think I'm just going to try to use this palette as much as possible as I have been, and then that will kind of be my goal, and yeah, I'll just see where I get in the next month. So that is it for this Pan That palette update. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know if you're doing a Pan That palette down below, and let me know how you're doing with it. And otherwise, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys.